Jesper, that was a very controlled performance. Took a little bit of time to find the breakthrough. How did you see that one play out?
It was a hectic beginning of the game. I think none of the teams really gained control over the game to begin with. It was back and forth, a lot of technical errors and mistakes, and the game didn't really settle. It was a lot of pace, but it was more physical than technical. And then I think we got a good grip of the game after 25 minutes. We started playing with more quality on the ball, and we had better positions in our build-up, which also gave us the opportunity to play a little bit longer attacks, and that I think that was tough on them. And then in the second half, I think that we were dominating and controlling the game. And when we finally had the break, we also, yet we have not won in a while. We still had the courage to push forward and play forward and not start to defend something, but playing forward. And I was happy to see that.
Defensively, not just a clean sheet, but not allowing a shot on target from a team at home as well, and a big crowd. Building on this now for the busy week that's coming up, what are the main positives that you will take out of this game?
I think defensively, we didn't give much away, even though we were standing high. They wanted to see if they could go play under us a couple of times. I think our fullbacks had very good control on the 1v1 situations. I think we were good in the in the defense. We were pushing forward and yet having control of the backspace. I think that was very good. So hopefully that's something that we can bring on. We know that we're going to play up against the team Wednesday. Normally, that sits a little bit lower on the pitch, so it's very important that we can have the control over the rest defense, as we call it, and the attacking balance. So that's definitely something we should bring on. We still need better flow in our offense, but it will come. I think we produced enough. Also, looking away from the two goals that came a little bit randomly, to also score, and I think in general we didn't give much away, and that was good. So the balance in the game and the balance in the team was as it should be, and now we just need a little bit more flow in our offensive game.
Yes, for congrats on the victory. In the lead up to this game, there was lots of discussion about how you would approach the game. It's a kind of very busy time of year. You're just coming off the Leagues Cup. You have 3 matches in 7 days in the league. They're all big matches. I wonder if you could talk a little about your decision of how you chose to set the team out and the rotation that you chose to take in certain spots.
Yeah, we have right now busy schedule, and we played a lot of games. We were in Monterrey the other day, and the players have not really had much time to relax. We had Andres sitting over in Monterrey because he's played the World Cup and he has basically not had enough rest, honestly, after the World Cup. I think it's tough on the players who have been away for so long. So he got some extra rest, and Thomas sitting over that trip as well. But we're looking into the opponents. We're looking into how we believe we can put up a strong lineup to begin with, but also having players from the bench making a difference when they come in. Today we saw Ryan come in the second half and really play well, and in the open gap he found very well, and he was a constant threat. Ryan Lumi came in earlier than expected, but also did very well, and Tristan also, and Nicolas. So I think it's not only about the starting 11. It's about being able to have a strong team over the course of the whole game, and I think it's people. When you're a player, the only thing you think about is if you start or not. But if you're a coach, you have to figure out how do I think the game can be played out, and what do we have also to put on the pitch if players get tired and stuff. And we have some players. We also saw Ralph today go out with cramps, who has not been playing consistently for a long time. Sabi, Sheikh has been a little bit in and out with injuries. So of course it's also something that we need to manage.
You come from Denmark, which is a country, a part of Europe, where there are literally centuries where football tradition has been built up over time. 2 years here in Vancouver, and for the second time in a row, you've been able to lift the Cascadia Cup
Yeah.
away to Seattle here at Lumen Field. I just wanted to talk about maybe your appreciation for the competition and what it means to the fan, what it means to the club, what it means to the football culture in this part of the world.
I think it's great that we have something like the Cascadia Cup because we are spread over such an enormous area that it's difficult to get the derbies. It's difficult to get connections where you have big crowds coming from both the home side and the away side. So I think it's great that we have something like this Cascadia Cup where you have three teams relatively close to each other and they battle it out and create also some extra atmosphere around these games. And I think it's now we won the 2 years I've been here, but I think it's a lot of there's a lot of competitiveness when we play Seattle and when we play Portland, and there's great atmospheres, and we have fans traveling both when we play away and when they play us. So I think that's just it's makes it a little bit extra, and it's also how this league can grow is not just having home fans, but also having sometimes some away fans coming in and make the extra, atmosphere a little bit extra during the game. So I think I think it's great playing these games, and also, of course, it's way better winning the Cascadia Cup than not.
Houston coming up on Wednesday. I don't think many people saw Houston at this point getting to the top with how it had been going into the break. Not now. They were going into tonight, but going into the break, they're on a good run. They're one of the teams that's on a good run just now. What have you made of them in these last few games? What are you expecting from this match on Wednesday? Traditionally, they've been a team that's come here and sat back and forced
they will
the
do
team
again.
to break down.
Yeah, they will probably do again, I think. But I think I just saw them last night, and it's a good team. It's a team with a lot of good players. They have some great individual players that can do something on their own individually. It's a team that's really good on counterattacks, and it's a team that we lost to last time we played them. So it's a tricky opponent. We will play high up the pitch, and they will have opportunities for counters, but we will have to be smart and not allow them to be, play the game out as they want. So I think that's definitely game plan for us, and we'll see how we work out. Last time we got a red card, and that made it also very tricky for us, and we lost in the last minute. But it's a good team. They deserve to be up there. They deserve to be a team to consider with. They've made some changes on the way, and if you're a coach, then you look at what is happening in the games, and if it doesn't pan out the way you would like to, then you make changes. And I think the coach has done that very well over the course of this season, and I think it's as I said, it's deserved that they are where they are. They've done very well over a long stretch now, and it's going to be very tricky and difficult for us.
Just a quick question. I know you brought up the fans and what it means to you, but just over 300 fans here today. You could hear them audibly.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about just that support on a Sunday night, making the travels down here to Seattle?
Yeah, I think it's great on the Sunday, as you say, on a Sunday night, right? That there are so many people coming down here from Vancouver to support us, and we're also very, very happy that we could give them the Cascadia Cup to bring home. And keep for a year more. So I think that's it's great, and we're so happy for all the support we get, and the support for the team just keeps growing and getting stronger and stronger. And I just wish them a very good return back home, and hopefully we're gonna see them again Wednesday. And thanks for all the support. It was great.
All right, we have a couple questions online. We'll start with Joshua, then Simon. Joshua, please.
Hey, Jesper. Just want to ask, is there any update on Jeevan Badwal?
Not now, no. No.
And obviously Ryan Alumi getting the first goal. Just how happy are you for him for getting his first goal in MLS after so many games?
It was important for Ryan. It was important for us. He has not really had that break that we expected and hoped for, honestly, and the same for him. He's a very young player who has already experienced a lot, but that also puts some extra pressure, and he puts a little bit extra pressure on himself, and we see him every day in training. We have confidence that this is a big talent, but of course it's been tough for him because as a striker you always get measured upon your goals, and they have not really come in the flow as we have hoped for. But now he got the goal, and I would say, given a chance like that, and then put it in the back of the net with that quality and confidence, I was very happy to see. It was not that he was hesitating anything. He took a very good stride. Look at the goalie, used the time on the ball, and then opened up his foot, and it was very nice to see.
Thanks, Jesper. Congrats on the win. Safe travels back home.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joshua. Simon, please.
Hi, Jesper. I just wanted to speak to the way that you played tonight, which was almost felt like a trademark kind of Whitecaps game. How the tempo of that passing and movement is so important to the way that you play. Can you kind of sort of elaborate on those foundations?
It's the way we play. It's what we would like to do. It's the way we would like to approach the game, by passing the ball fast and move the ball fast over the pitch, and be attacking minded and want to go forward. The pitch here was very fast. You could see at the beginning the players had difficulties really controlling the ball. A lot of balls went out of the sideline from normal passes and was a little bit too fast. But I think it's the way we would like to play, and it's the style of play we believe in. It's the style of play that has given us whatever we have gotten from the last year or maybe a year and a half. But so it's how we want to play. I still think that we just lack a little bit of precision still in the way we move the ball, and also I think our positioning has to be a little bit better. But overall, I think after we settled on the pitch after 25 minutes, I think that we found a better flow, and I think we had good control and good movement of the ball.
For the fact that you had controlled a lot of games, particularly in the Leagues Cup or one, and the chances just didn't come, and you were just speaking there about the precision. Did you feel tonight that there was some progress made in that particular regard?
No, we had a lot of chances in the Leagues Cup. We had a game against Juarez where we had maybe the most chances we had in a game this season. So I think that has not really been the problem. It's difficult when they're standing low to have breakaways like we have for Ryan. That's not easy when you play up against a team that's standing that low. But I think today the pitch was also faster than at BC Place, where it's extremely slow and the pitch stops the ball all the time. So it was a little bit. It can be a little bit easier to get extra flow in the ball here.
Perfect. That's all we have for you today, Coach. Thank you very much.
Thank you.